Welcome back to We Bought a Mic, a pop culture podcast, a pop culture film cast for our top 10 movies of 2022. Wrapping up Listomania, wrapping up another great year in cinema. Welcome. We've made it. We're here. My name's Ernest.
I am the Bob to Ernie's Steve to Drew's Kevin. My number one is Minions Rise of Gru, and my name is Hunter.
Kukagabana.
Okay.
Papaya.
Beto Papaya.
I thought you were talking about like the characters in like King of Queens or something.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
I'm Kevin Smith.
Like Bobby Z, Robert Zemeckis.
My annoying wife. Oh, my wife now, she wants me to clean the dishes.
Does he say that?
He does.
Is that a quote from Minions Rise of Gru?
It was both. Remember the crossover that happened? Remember the Minions episode of King of Queens?
And I am Minions: The Rise of Drew.
Ooh. Man, why?
Whoa.
And see, if we would have done a full length episode, you could have busted out.
If I didn't
busted out, then it would have been much more.
If I didn't leave the theater halfway through that movie.
Well,
oh my God, that's right.
Drew, don't worry.
Gentle Minions.
I will tell you how it ends when we get to it on my list.
Okay.
Wow. Incredible. Yep. Well, shout out to Seltzercast where you did give the detailed, I guess the full deep dive story of your movie going experience.
Yeah, I don't need to
episode.
Regurgitate that whole thing because crazy enough, it was this exact same experience as whenever I saw Women Talking this year.
What? Because there were women talking?
The gentle women talking.
At the theater?
Yeah.
They would let you listen to the sounds of...
Yeah, no, I started to say something that was like...
Mm-hmm.
Not here.
What is isn't there a Simon and Garfunkel song that they do in like Minion speak? Mommy, ya, mama, ya, wa, ya, papaya, mama, ya, banana.
So we have an episode coming up in a couple weeks. It's like a my episode because of how dominant of a performance I had in the Fantasy Film League last year. And I'm starting to veer that we should do the entire episode as Minions.
Oh, we can only speak.
We can only speak Minionese.
Can someone be Gru?
Yeah.
Hello, Minion, my old friend.
Okay, there you go. All right.
You are wearing overalls again.
Oh, okay.
Incredible.
All right. That's good. That's good.
Incredible.
I had a whole phase this year where I would just sing songs as Gru and sing them about Minions, but I didn't know much about the Minions.
You're like yellow.
At what
yellow
point did you
fellas.
decide that you needed to evacuate the theater?
We were probably almost halfway through and we had hardly gotten into the plot because it starts with all this like random superhero bullshit. And
Greatest superhero film ever made, yes, of course.
The Zoomers to each side of us had also fallen asleep because I think they were like really drunk.
They were zonked out.
And we were in the back row and my girlfriend fell asleep and I was like, I think I get it.
You just didn't see it with the right crowd. We're going to talk about our best theatrical movie experiences this year because transition. This was a big year for the return to movies.
Movies are back, baby.
Movies are back. Movies are hitting. Thanks to our Lord and Savior Tom Cruise, our Lord and Savior Big Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Movies are back, and Minions Rise
Black
of Gru.
Adam.
Yeah, of course the
Hierarchy of Power.
Hierarchy of Power. Yes, that did change. But yeah, no, I think that despite all of that, Minions Rise of Gru is my best theatrical experience of the year.
So,
and that's it. I'm not going to
shout out to a future episode that we'll be doing next week called the Wabammies, our award show, where we will actually have an actual category for best theatrical experiences. Today, we're counting down our top 10 movies of 2022. And man, what a year it's been. Just before we started recording, we were kind of reminiscing on past years because we've been doing this podcast for a couple of years now. And, you know, we have a solid frame of reference of past top 10s that we've done. And every year it seems like, man, what a great year. What a great year of movies. You know, it's like you look back. And so I think like making this list this year, not only is it pretty clear that it's probably the best year since 2019, obviously, just because of the pandemic and the impact that it had on on Hollywood. But also I think that, I'm curious to see how much overlap there's going to be, because it's pretty top heavy year, like kind of an undisputed, like sort of top tier this year. And you don't always get that. You don't always get as many kind of almost instant classics every year as we got this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. This was probably, since we've been doing this podcast, the toughest year for me to finalize a top 10.
Oh yeah.
And there's been
Me
better
too.
years, like 2017, 2019 are better movie years than this. But my 8 through 14, I changed so much. I made changes like an hour before recording
Same.
here, like that. I just could not finalize my list because I would be like, cool, I'm happy with my list. I'm ready to go with locking these items in here. And then I would just think about what I put at number 11. And I'm like, fuck, I can't leave that off the top 10. So we're going to get into it. I tried to really go from my heart this year. So there are kind of some movies that are, maybe they're masterpieces in the true classic sense of the term, but they're masterpieces for us. There's some movies that came out that are very much in our wheelhouse this year that we are going to talk about, that I know are going to be on our list here.
Whoa.
Michael Bay released a film and it was shot with drones. But yeah, no, I'm excited to get into this year because there's a lot of good shit.
Yeah, I totally echo what you're saying, just because I just kind of had to abandon any further edits because I was just going to keep tweaking forever. I just got to a point where it's just like, I have a very kind of locked in top 4. Like any one of those could be number 1. And then 5 through probably 15 are all just movies that I love. And I just had to settle on which ones are at that 10 cutoff and which ones are not. And, whatever. I love all of them. At a certain point, the order just, it doesn't even matter. I can't even say that this is such a strong year that I can't even say that I love number 6 more than number 8. I just love all of them. And I'm so excited to talk about them.
That route defeats the purpose of the entire episode.
So instead of doing a list,
bye.
we should just say movie names. We should just say movie titles
and then peace.
and then leave, and we'll keep this under 4.5 hours.
I want to get it out of the way. I want the elephant in the room. There's some movies I didn't see. I didn't get to Babylon.
No!
Did not quote unquote get to Avatar. Because I didn't quote unquote get to Avatar 1.
You did not make the 6-year cryo trip to Pandora and back.
Couldn't. Apparently, an essential viewing that I missed out on was the new Puss in Boots movie. Did you guys catch it?
I kind of had to just have that one on in the background a little bit in my FYC cramming.
I mean, the reviews are out of this world.
Yeah, I want to see it.
They're outrageously good. Like top 10 of the year good. Just numerically speaking. There are a fair amount of others, but I wanted to get the tough ones out of the way. Nothing Marvel. Didn't see Elvis. And then
you missed out on one of those.
You didn't see Thor: Love and Thunder?
Did you see The Whale? I just need to know that you saw the new Aronofsky film, Drew. Did you see Bardo?
I didn't want to.
False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths?
I'm glad that people are realizing finally that the way that we're treating Brendan Fraser is borderline weird at this point.
Bizarre.
It's as if he's disabled or something.
We talk about him in the way that we talked about Alex Smith last year, returning, where it's just he both of his legs went the opposite direction. So it's oh, he's doing so good out there.
Well, I mean, you haven't even seen The Whale.
Not gonna.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's good in the movie, but to have that role be the return of Brendan Fraser.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't regret it. He's being very buzzed about.
Yeah.
We might talk about this more in the future about how we actually did our FYC ballots this year and everything else.
Shout out
Critics
to
Association.
CACF.
Yeah.
Critics Association of Central Florida. a big reason why I wasn't in a state of insane cramming the past.
My cramming just moved up 3 weeks. I
Right.
still did all the cramming.
It was
it just was a
in
month
December.
earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
It was the same thing, but just moved up a little bit
But
easier.
usually like before this best of episode, it's just like a mad rush to try to see as many movies as possible. This year, because, we joined this critics group, we got to see a lot of things early. And I also feel like there's still a lot of movies that I haven't seen. And I'm just like, you know what? I'll get to them later. I'm happy with my list. I don't want to fuck it up.
I have a thin DVD case.
There's a couple major blind spots that I am ashamed that I missed. We might talk about one or two of them today, but for the most part, I'm happy with my list. No, but what I was going to say about the critics thing, about whenever I was making my ballot this year, I decided, and we'll see if this carries over on multiple years, but I thought there was a lot of great performances in different movies. If I just straight up hated a movie, I'm not giving you any awards. I don't care if you give a great performance in a dog shit movie. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's just other lead actor performances that I enjoyed watching more because I enjoyed the movie more. Like Elvis.
Mama.
I've been really trying to work on my Elvis.
That's pretty good.
It borderlines on Johnny Bravo sometimes, but Mama.
That's what Johnny Bravo is.
I think you gotta slow it down a little bit.
Mama, I just want to say, Mama.
We can't do this. We can't do all Elvis voice.
I can't stop
from
myself.
now until the Oscars.
I keep just like getting up behind Gaia's ear, like sneaking up behind her and just going, Mama. She loves it. It's great.
So before we start, what was the worst movie everyone watched this year?
Okay.
Do you want? Okay,
This
so we want
was-
to do dishonorables now.
This
right
was
off the top?
a tough. I mean, to me, it's like far and away Black Adam. Like, that was the one movie
Joke's on you. You watched it.
that sitting in the theater made me like rethink all my life choices. I actively like considered like quitting the podcast, like ending ever wanting to like pursue a love for cinema. It just made me like question everything. I just started to like fully spiral in the middle of that movie, and I thought that there was no way out.
So probably that one.
Yeah.
There were a few movies that I turned off this year because they were going really poorly, including Spiderhead.
Yeah, that's in my worst five.
Movie number one that may not exist, that I watched like a half hour of, and I was like, it's okay.
I think it should be illegal to have that cool of a movie title name with that boring of a movie.
Well, it was supposed
and
to
that cool of a cast and that good of a director.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be called Escape from Spiderhead,
Which is
even cooler.
That's so cool of a name, and then it's just like a boring all shot mostly in one room.
It looks like a montage. Yeah, it was, that movie was a pain in the fucking ass. So I didn't watch any horrible movies. I would say probably the worst movie I watched was The Good Nurse.
So that's not going to be making the list. What does that come out?
Hey,
like 12?
Eddie Redmayne might get nominated for an Oscar.
That's what's funny.
Is insane.
I would be fine with that because he's phenomenal in this movie. It's the first time I've ever liked him like in a role before. Because he's playing someone creepy and unlikable, and that's what he is.
Yeah.
He genuinely does a great job. But the problem with Oscar bait movies is when they don't work, it feels kind of like you're watching like nothing.
Yeah.
It's not like
most drab, bland.
Yeah, it's not like you still get the theatrics of budget or like your effects. So you're just left with a lot of nothing. And there are a lot of nothing in that movie.
Shout out to all the failed Oscar bait this year. Like, we should do like an in memoriam segment for like Empire of Light, The Sun, Bardo.
I'm like not ready for Bardo to die yet. I mean, we're talking about worst movies of the year. I definitely saw movies that are worse than Bardo, but Bardo made me angrier than any other movie I've seen this year. Bardo and The Whale both caused me to say like, fuck this movie. Fuck these directors. I think that they should stop. I think that they should get a job as like an assistant manager of a Walmart and stop making movies. No offense to the Walmart managers out there. I'm sure that you guys are doing great work, but
You would shop at a Walmart managed by Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu.
Actually, no, that sounds chaotic. What would be worse would be Walmart managed by Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah, that would be the worst.
It would be a Walmart, but like, have you guys ever been to
All
a
the
Dollar
shelves
Tree
are
before, where it's just like
horizontal.
everything is just completely like disheveled and everywhere, like
Yeah.
a Dollar Tree on Black Friday?
There's a cross on the wall, but it's not Jesus. It's like ugly Sonic.
It's the smiley face, the Walmart smiley face.
I'm gonna kill myself. Quickly, a couple other movies that just sucked. Halloween Ends. I'm
Yes.
so sorry, Colin. The movie's dog shit. The movie's so bad. It's a borderline like unwatchable bad.
It's so bad.
It's terrible.
Shockingly bad.
Sorry, Colin. And then we can't forget Dr. Michael Morbius came out this year, guys. And honestly, if we're talking about just like fun bad movies, that is a Parabola Theory.
That's
movie.
one I really want to see.
Honestly, it was a lot of fun. I had a great time in the theater seeing it with Gaia. We had a couple drinks before. We went and we were feeling loosey-goosey. It looks like shit. It feels bad.
It's a bad time.
The only movie I walked out of this year was Jurassic World Dominion,
Didn't see him.
so that is why that is my worst movie of the year. It's bad, and also it's just boring.
Yeah.
Just really boring. Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah. Shout out to Blonde Daddy. Also terrible movie.
Your favorite pro-life movie?
Daddy. Just
Mama?
that's
Mama and Daddy?
half the script. Anna de Armas, who may be nominated for an Academy Award next week, half her script is Daddy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. That sounds like it's really setting women forward.
All right. So enough about the not best movies of the year. You're here for the best, the top, the tippity favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So Drew, you're here. The migraine's gone. Why don't you start us off with number 10? If there is any overlap, we will save the discussion for who has it the highest. Here we go.
I went with my heart this entire list. My number 10 is Barbarian.
Fuck yes, Drew. This is part of the movies that like it could have been my top 10. I'm so glad that you had this on here.
I'm gonna clap right now because in the spirit of you putting Tenet on your list, in the spirit of you putting Malignant on your list, like here we are.
Okay,
like
this is a
trying
better
to
movie
be,
than fucking Tenet. Come on.
Okay, that's another podcast.
Get out of here.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to put praise on Drew here. Drew or Hunter and I, you know, we get sucked into like the prestige bullshit.
You're the liberal media.
Right. We're the woke
I'm
mob.
InfoWars.
Yeah.
I'm coming out with cold hard facts.
This movie fucking rocks.
It
metal.
It fucking owns. It is front to back insanely captivating. It has your ass the entire time. Even if you're not enthralled by the direction that the movie takes, because it takes a hard left turn. I was insanely enthralled by it. I think that I don't know if I put this on Letterboxd, but I think that a lot of movies halfway through need to become about Justin Long.
Yeah.
The greatest hard cut like I've seen in movies in memory. It's insane. It's so good.
It's fucking awesome. That has like a surprisingly high hit rate, just making your movie not entirely about something else, but hard cutting and just starting a new story midway through. That works
especially what happens directly before that cut.
Yes.
Like the most like gory, violent shit.
And really scary. Like it's effective.
It is that movie. I mean, it's fucking that first half of the movie is just like edge of your seat, like very traditional good horror.
Yeah.
Like it's just like a very normal good horror movie. And then it becomes comedy horror camp, I guess. Sort of
hilarious.
Yeah, like extremely
very
funny.
Effective.
I mean, it's written and co-written and directed by a whitest kids you know guy.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Trevor Moore, who died last year.
Continuing the tradition of like comedy guys who go on to just make great horror.
Yeah.
That overlap is there.
It is really, really great horror. It surprised me at every turn, whether or not like I agreed with every choice the movie made. I'm glad that it made choices. I'm glad that it decided to eschew the idea of explaining everything and just sort of be like, yeah, no, things are just sort of this way. So let's do some more plot. Okay.
So this
It's like it does just straight up become a comedy in that section for like 20 minutes whenever you first see Justin Long.
he's like measuring the murder
measuring and just being like, oh my God, like looking
Square
up like,
footage.
can I claim unfinished basement as part of the square footage?
Justin Long, I've always
good.
really loved Justin Long. I think that there is like a silent majority that just like is like, yeah, Justin
You're
Long
just like,
rocks.
dude, you know it's a good movie? Accepted.
perfect role for him, just like a shitty guy.
Yeah, he's a good douchebag. He's also in the past been a really good like likable normal guy. Dodgeball. He's just not that into you. Like he's versatile while also still always being Justin Long. Like when you see him in a movie, I love him. I love the movie.
It rocks.
It's super solid. It has a good amount of misdirection. And it's, I mean, more importantly than anything, it feels like an auteur project. It is directed by its writer, and you can feel that. It's super tight. Like it's just, it's worth watching. It's quick. It's effective. It's an effective movie. I love it.
It's a great movie watching experience, and this is a shoe-in for the Wabami next week of best movie going experience, because in the theater, you probably saw this on HBO Max, right? Yeah. So in the theater, this movie, normally I would get pissed off at people talking during movies and be like completely taken out of it. This movie, for some reason, my theater was very vocal, very, but they weren't like having side conversations with each other. They were watching the movie. They were reacting to the movie.
That's the best kind of horror movie.
And
audience.
there were guys that like had a comment everything. They had a comment for everything. And at a certain point, I was just like, fuck it, dude. Just say your shit, because this is just that kind of movie where I'm not going to get mad.
The first 45 minutes, that's perfect, because you're just going like, stop, no, do not. Why are you going in
see a Skarsgård and you're like, turn the fuck around.
Yeah.
But get out of there. Look at that man's sunken eyes. And then the directions that movie goes is just incredible.
Yeah. Then Lee and I went to Bahama Breeze afterwards and talked about the movie for like an hour. Like, she had a lot of takes that I didn't.
Positive?
Yeah. Okay. She loved the movie. It was one of her favorites of the year.
Nice. Another thing I want to shout out is this movie starts with the exact same premise as Katie Holmes' movie that she released last year.
Katie Holmes is still working?
Katie Holmes directed and starred in a romantic comedy that is about a young man and a young woman accidentally each booking the same Airbnb. And her movie, it becomes a rom-com where they fall in love.
Interesting.
Huh.
I didn't know about this.
A little bit different in this movie. And this movie did a little bit.
It's such a great premise.
Yeah.
It's handled so well. Okay. That's awesome. That's Barbarian.
Love it.
The movie has a lot of great underlying themes, about kind of like gentrification and the rot of like suburbia.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's not just like horror.
Yeah, and misogyny.
Yeah, and like just general like the cancel culture thing, because you do see a point where there's like at least one moment where you're like, what did happen with Justin Long? Like, what was it just Mr. And he's like, yeah, like whenever he gets drunk and he's talking to his friends about it, you're like, oh yeah, you do suck. Yeah,
you're a raper.
Yeah.
The Katie Holmes movie is called Alone Together. I can't believe you didn't see this, Ernie. I posted.
Wait, is that based off of the Fall Out Boy song from Folie à Deux, Alone Together?
No. It's the trailer for it is hilarious. It's her and Jim Sturgis.
Oh, nice.
2022 Jim Sturgis.
How's he looking these days?
He looks like a different guy.
Is this just like a movie from like 2009 that just got like sent through time?
Yeah, where it's literally just like, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't have anyone else to stay.
Written and directed by Katie Holmes. Wow.
That's not what I was expecting Jim Sturgis to look like these days.
It's her, A Star is Born.
Amazing.
Wow.
All right. That's Barbarian. That's Drew's number 10. Dirty Titty. Shout out.
Love the Dirty Titty.
Should we go to you, Hunter? Should we do this counterclockwise, clockwise? How should we do this?
How have we been doing it this whole time? I don't remember.
Let's go to Hunter.
Okay.
I'll forget if it goes this way.
My number 10, I have a feeling we're going to have to wait on. My number 10 is Glass Onion: A Knives Out Story.
Thank God this made it. This was such a hard cut
Knives
for
Out
me.
Mystery, excuse me.
This did not make my list either.
Okay. Thank God.
shocking.
Dude, I literally had this off of my list until like an hour before we got here.
Oh
It's,
my
And
God.
it's my number 11.
I had kept flip-flopping it with my number 11. I'm so glad that I put this on here then. now
Thank
that they had
the
this here.
Lord. Yeah, we don't share our list before, so it's all a surprise. This was on my list since we saw it because we got to see the press screening and we were glowing.
Yeah.
I remember.
Loved the fuck out of this movie coming out of that screening, and it broke my heart to cut it out of my list. I loved it so much.
So I rewatched it like a couple days ago. Just
on
preparing for
Netflix
this right now. It was on Netflix. It was just nice. Threw it on. I will say that there was something special about seeing this in a movie theater. That this was such a movie theater movie, and I fucking hate. I know that it's on Netflix, and there's so many goddamn Easter eggs in here that it does invite the Netflix rewatchability to it. But there's just something special about seeing it in a movie theater for that first time. Put Benoit Blanc in every movie. I put Benoit Blanc in Barbarian, put Benoit Blanc in Tar, put Benoit Blanc in everything, and he enhances the project, is my theory on what we should do with this. Daniel Craig in this movie, like what he is doing, he is operating on another level that I didn't think that he had even after the first Knives Out. Like, I think that this is a bigger win for him than the first Knives Out.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Overall, I think coming out of it, we were like riding the high, and I was like, Glass Onion's better than the first Knives Out. This is masterpiece.
It's
This is
funnier.
perfect. It's very different.
Zany.
I think the first Knives Out is definitely a lot cleaner of a movie. This is juggling so many different things.
It's throwing so much at you.
But the genius of Rian Johnson is that he fucking lands the plane. Is that he still somehow he throws all these balls up in the air and then finds a way to thread the needle and make everything work. This is my pick for best ensemble of the year. Or no, I think I have one movie.
It won our critics group.
It won the critics group. I think I had this at number 2. Just the cast is unfucking believable in this movie. Ed Norton is incredible in this thing. Janelle Monáe was my favorite supporting performance this year.
She rocks.
Yeah, no, I fucking love this movie. It's great.
What did you think of this, Drew?
Yeah, it's really, really great. Humor wise, especially, it's definitely a lot more broad than the first one. The characters are very broad. They are much more, they're painted with a broad stroke. They are generalizations.
Archetypes.
Because the movie,
as a lot of whodunits do. It's the Agatha Christie.
And the movie is, because it's not just taking place like in a little house, like you don't have as much time to get into like nuances of who these people are. That's all fine and good. There are a lot of jokes that landed insanely well with me. There are some that didn't. Love the ensemble, like incredible ensemble. I agree with you. I think this movie is a way bigger flex for Mr. Benoit. I think he gay, which is cool.
Yeah, with
our boy Hugh
Grant.
We should do
incredible partner.
The next one should be sort of like Taken, and they take Hugh Grant.
Oh, man, I think I love that.
No, I think someone pitched this on Twitter that like he's gonna go on vacation with Hugh Grant, and like Hugh Grant is like, you promise you won't solve any mysteries while we're on vacation, right? Like we're gonna have a good time together, right? Yeah. And he's like, oh, of course.
I shout out to the best Zoom chat that you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, Kareem,
Stephen Sondheim,
Angela
Lansbury, R.I.P.
and Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah, incredible.
The pandemic-y nature of it is a little weird, isn't it?
It's fascinating because
they could have like just not talked about the pandemic.
Well,
but
it's
they
a
consciously
choice.
made the decision to make it a pandemic movie.
And it also it was, it's been sitting on the shelf for a minute.
Well, it was made during the pandemic.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's the thing is like they made it in the heat of it.
So it almost, it's something you clock while you're watching it. You're just sort of like, I don't know. I didn't take it as like a pure positive. I'll tell you that much.
I liked how the whole notion of this story are these people are rich as fuck. They're orbiting like one of the wealthiest people on the planet. And of course, like the pandemic is going to be around, but it's not going to be something that's really going to impact their lives. Like the pandemic didn't impact the wealthy class.
Also to offset the pandemic thing being a little bit stale, it has a lot of prescience in the form of like making fun of a musky type guy.
Oh yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like it was ahead of the 8 ball on that. Not that it was like particularly hard to identify Musk as a moron, but like holy smokes.
I mean, there's
the Joe Rogan stand-in of Dave Bautista.
That did well.
Like,
what an incredible timing on that part. The mystery itself, I wasn't in love with until, you have to kind of zoom out and reconsider the fact that like, you
peel back the layers.
The song Glass Onion by the Beatles is about how overanalyzing their songs is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it makes sense to sort of poke fun at the idea of overanalyzing the movie while like also like he knows, like he wants you to overanalyze it.
I think there are... This movie might age a little interestingly because like there are things that are the movie is about right now, and it's going to be interesting to see how as time goes the certain things will reframe themselves. Because like for example, spoilers for Glass Onion, if you haven't seen it, skip forward. But the Mona Lisa burns at the end of this movie, and a lot of people have been talking about how kind of icky they feel about seeing that and having like a hero moment for our characters, like doing that. And that's something that Johnson isn't putting in this movie just as a throwaway thing. Like it's a very deliberate choice. And to me, the fact that this movie is on Netflix, right? That a company like Netflix like acquired this Knives Out IP and now is being put on their platform, and he had to fight to put it in theaters. When you relate that to this notion of like art being destroyed, I think that Johnson is trying to make some type of correlation about like what he is doing with the power that he is being given. Like what does he owe to his audience with the resources that a company like Netflix is providing him, while at the same time being a bellwether of like the death of theaters and cinema.
When the first Knives Out was like a boon for theaters.
Yeah.
Like
it made like $200 million or something like that.
Yeah. And and it was a statement about how like, adult driven, like dramedies, like story driven movies can still, can reign supreme. If like the idea of the Mona Lisa burning makes you queasy, you need to grow up.
Yeah,
like you're a little baby.
It's a movie. It's not the real Mona Lisa.
What is wrong with you?
Well, no, I think that Glass Onion was victim to what I think a lot of Netflix properties are, where it's just like the dumbest discourse you can possibly imagine. Yeah. Like it's the same thing of just like you'll hear around like certain Stranger Things things where it's like, just fucking who cares, man? Just like shut up and just like enjoy a movie. Like it's the Mona Lisa burns. Okay, like is anybody like analyzing like all the other 15,000 elements that are going on in this story here?
It's like last year when we talked about Licorice Pizza and the whole discourse around that. And it's like, it's a movie. Like we know that it's what happens isn't necessarily like the right thing.
I just also like this movie isn't made in the realm. This movie isn't made as set in reality. Like the box that they get in the beginning of this movie, like
the puzzle box.
Which I will say,
so cool.
This is my favorite. Like the production design in here, just like it's so good. It's so exquisitely done, down to like little details of like they drop off their bags and you just see like a robot dog like creature just like carrying their. There's just so many things that are constantly happening in the background.
A little bit of Netflixy digital look sometimes.
Yes,
when Blanc and Ed Norton are up in the Glass Onion itself,
in there, and then like the fire effects feel very digital.
The fire effects at the end, I do feel that. Shout out to Noah Segan though, our guy Daryl. He's
not here.
He's just working through some things.
I'm not here.
Vibey.
Great movie. I'm so glad it made it because we were riding high off of this movie, and I also gave it the rewatch this week leading up to this episode, and I still loved it. Even just watching it alone at home on Netflix, I was like, a lot of this humor still works. The story, how it reframes itself in the middle, you can kind of pick up on certain things.
It actually does.
The rewatch.
There was some things in the first act that I actually did like more with the rewatch. So, like certain like character kind of choices.
Exactly. Because it's watching it the first, without knowing what's going to happen, you're sort of like, this isn't this doesn't feel whole. This doesn't feel quite like what I thought it was going to. And then, when it takes a turn, it needs to.
Especially because the first one, you're fully in like Ana de Armas. Like she is the main character.
Yeah.
This one, it's like, it's Blanc for a lot of it.
It's Blanc, but that would betray the entire genre if he was the true main character.
Right.
He has to not be in order for it to be a murder mystery.
Yeah.
So it makes sense where it ends up, and I still like the movie. It's
I'm excited for more Benoit Blanc chronicles. Do we
Can't
have any?
wait.
Do we think where we think they're going to go next?
Well, I probably think like a train, right? Some kind of
that would
train, or
That's full Agatha Christie at that point. We're just going to go Murder on the Orient Express. With this thing?
I'd like that. That would be a bullet train, perhaps.
like the mountains.
Yeah.
Keep
it. Yeah,
like
some
that
kind
could
of
be nice.
snowy.
like the Swiss Alps.
Can we get Adam Driver with the turtleneck again?
Yeah. Oh,
I'm down.
all right.
Bring back
Glass
the House of
Onion.
Gucci.
He takes a vacation to the White Lotus Hotel.
That could be. That's the worlds colliding right there. That's what we need. Is that we need a murder to happen, like season 3 of White Lotus, and Benoit Blanc just like shows up like there's been a murder.
The White Lotus, Switzerland. Glass Onion
My number
is
10.
Hunter's number 10. My number 10. I'm curious if there's going to be any overlap here. The Batman.
Nope.
It's on my list.
Okay, baby boy.
Happy for you guys in your capes.
So my number 9, which we're at right now, is Jackass Forever.
I'm so glad this made your list. This is my top 20, and it was a hard to keep off if I'm just going purely from the soul.
It was really early in the year. This was my favorite theater experience of the year. We saw this together, Hunter. It was my first like full theater since 2019, and it was incredible. It all worked in the theater. Like it played excellently, and I think that's the goal of these movies is to make a big group of people. It's it's like watching a horror movie. It's the goal is to make a big group of people react very viscerally at the same time, vocally.
This was the most like
I tried to watch this, guys. I made it through a lot of it, like over half of it.
It's a short movie. What?
There's just a lot of like dick
You're like, let
trauma.
me fire up Babylon for the 4th time instead.
It's just I can't do it. I can't watch men assault their dicks
There's
so
much dick. There's more dick in this movie than there is in any other Jackass. And I think it's just that once you hit like 40, it's like, fuck it. These are my balls. Like, just gonna leave them out here.
I still voted for it though for our critics group because it was eligible for best documentary. So I was like, you know what? It's worthy.
Yeah.
Even though it's not for me, I can still award it.
I think they did something really interesting with this, and we talked about this whenever it came out, or maybe at the mid-year pod. I can't remember, but they kind of Top Gun Maverick this a little bit, where they are paying homage to like the old and like having
like a sequel.
This they're having all of these like legendary people who we know, Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, the whole gang, Chris Pontius, out here doing like incredible bits, but they are still introducing some new cast members, but they don't fully hand over the reins to the new cast members. They're still like, we're going to let Johnny do the crazy shit. We're going to let like some of our old
Danger Aaron mostly.
It's mostly Danger. It's always been Danger Aaron who we're getting. The Silence of the Lambs bit is like genuinely, I don't know, like a top 5, top 10 Jackass bit that they have ever done. It's so good.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
And this one obviously has the best like cinematic value of any of the movies. That's one of like only a few things that holds back the first couple, because those are incredible movies and probably like pound for pound are better than this one, but this one rules. It's a great movie. They have production value. They bring in new people. It works for the most part, definitely. And it's like a Top Gun Maverick thing. Like it's like, hey, we're still fucking here, man.
Yeah, we matter.
This was my Top Gun. And Top Gun was also my Top Gun.
Oh, Top Gun. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but this is a great movie. You do have to have the stomach for it.
Yeah. I laughed a good bit. I wasn't like arms crossed, like, like, these fucking degenerates. I was laughing.
There is more.
It's just hard to
dick
watch.
trauma in this one than in any other Jackass.
Yeah.
Definitely. And like all of them, there's puke stuff. There's poop stuff. There's all that. you gotta be down with it, and it'll reward you if you are.
I'll try to finish it. It's sitting in my Paramount Plus queue. I probably have like
What I was
the
gonna say,
last
what else is in
third
there?
left.
It's just like
Ink
Survivor.
Master,
Yo,
Okay, all
man,
right.
I watched hella Ink Master
little
this year.
Ink Master.
Man, should put Ink Master on the top TV.
What else is in there? Like, I don't know. Indiana Jones. That
Let
probably
me-
got
okay.
cycled
Let me
out.
tell you about Ink Master really quick, just for the listeners. Quick update. I watched a ton of it last year. The best judge on the show, Oliver Peck, is now disgraced because a lot of images showed up of him on multiple occasions doing blackface on Halloween.
No.
How do you do it multiple times?
Because it's a permanent tattoo.
Yeah, the guy likes
tattooed his
coloring
face
skin. And this is like right on the tail of the show becoming, much like Survivor, a streaming hit during the pandemic
On Netflix.
This show gained so much steam during the pandemic; it's insane. After being on like Spike TV for a bunch of years, which died and became the Paramount.
I can't wait
Network.
for Mansers to get a reclamation.
Mansers, but whoa.
Mansers.
I will say,
Womancers.
Ink Master is an awful show.
It's horrible.
It's so bad.
So I've always been really interested in it because there could be a good show there.
Well, the art is usually pretty good.
Well, it's at the very least interesting to see how they judge,
Yeah.
the criteria on which they judge art. Like, that's fun. That's cool. The show itself, especially in the early years, is just like
It's god
it's a
awful.
pit of masculinity. It's like toxic.
Well, it's a Spike TV show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's every fucking Spike TV show.
it's the
I-
producers casting people that are likely to start fights, and then like literally being like, "Hey, like you should go chat with that guy," and just like putting the camera right in their face. It sucks because like tattoo artists aren't all like that. So now the show is coming back with an overhauled panel of judges. I'm going to assume that they're better than what we had. Dave Navarro is no longer the host, but, and this is crucial, this is what I want to say.
Breaking news.
He will be appearing as the Master of Chaos.
What? I can't wait to find out what
the
that is.
Master of Chaos.
Incredible.
I think it's going to be like a remote role, like where he shows up on a TV screen.
And just tattoos people randomly at like
no, because that's the thing. Dave
Florida
Navarro
Bike Week.
Dave Navarro hosted and was a de facto judge for like 10 years without ever having tattooed someone in his life.
Cool.
I know. So now he's going to be the Master of Chaos who just comes in and is like,
Oh my god.
here's the twist of this week.
They're gonna somehow make it worse.
I cannot wait.
Just stick to the tattoo
I know.
art.
If there's any place worse to handle this show than Spike TV, it might be Paramount.
Yeah,
So I'm
that's
very
not
excited.
great.
So Jackass Forever
Yes.
is Drew's 9.
What's your 9?
My number 9 is actually, ironically, I have looked up what it would cost to get a tattoo of this. It's Marcel the Shell with shoes on.
Beautiful. Speak on it. Pop off.
Sometimes people say that my head's too big for my body.
There's no way.
Then I say, compared to what?
That's so gruff.
I know you're
I
not.
can't do it.
it's
I
not
can't
gonna
do it, Jenny
happen.
Slate. I'm sorry.
It's more like it's a
No,
little
it's
bit
not.
more
No.
It's a little more whispery than that. It's a little bit more like.
Sometimes people tell me that my voice sounds like this.
This is a
movie
beautiful, beautiful movie.
It's
so gorgeous.
gorgeous, and this movie was
Adorable.
probably like the biggest shock of the year for me. Of just like, I went in, Guy and I saw the trailer, and I was like, this looks like a cute movie. I'm just gonna go in, and we'll see it. Maybe I'll shed a tear or two, and it's about that silly little shell from a YouTube campaign that. I don't remember this. I have no fucking memory.
Oh, these were great vids.
I have no memory of these ever existing. Like, I feel like this is like a Berenstein Bears situation where everybody's like, Marcel. Everybody knew Marcel. He was a little guy hopping around.
Yeah, I guess we totally.
I don't know.
Missed that.
Apparently, it was in 2010. We were all like friends and around each other
Never-
and on the internet.
Never
Yeah, they
caught
just,
it.
I watched them all once and I was like, oh, that's cute and like pretty funny. And, come to know years later, it's like, oh, wow, that was Jenny Slate. And her then husband, Dean Fleischer Kampf, that's what I was doubting about this movie because he didn't have any like real like feature directing under his belt. I think he had something before this. he directed that little weird miniseries starring Nathan Fielder that we all watched, but no one else watched. David, remember that?
David.
That was fun.
Remember that? No, but like this movie just completely took me by surprise. And there's so much that this movie is really trying to say for like this stupid little movie about a live action shell that's just like lost its family. There's like a ton of stuff about like what it's like seeing your loved ones get older and kind of like taking care of like elderly, like this feeling of like loneliness, of adaptation, and a big feeling of loss not even in a death way, because since making these original shorts back in 2010, Jenny Slate and Dean Fleischerkamp got a divorce, and that's in this movie. Like Dean Fleischerkamp is a character. Jenny Slate isn't actually in this movie, but like they talk about like what it's like for him being separated from his partner in this and staying in this, and that was just kind of
Jenny Slate is Marcel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like not like her actual like Jenny Slate is not a character in the story, but
she's voicing Marcel.
Dean Fleischerkamp is a character in the story. Like he is actually in the
he's
story.
Like he is the cameraman, essentially.
But he kind of takes on like this supporting role to Marcel throughout the course of this movie. And I just found all that stuff to be expertly done. The craftsmanship is so beautiful. Like
it almost looks like stop motion.
I mean, there are elements of stop motion. It's a live action stop motion.
So it's not CG. It's not like CG animation, or they blend it all in.
Well, I mean, it's blended in there, but there's a lot. Like this is, if you like look it up, it's a live action stop motion animation mockumentary.
Wow.
Like there's so much stuff that they were able to do via stop motion. That's why this movie looks unlike anything else that like I've ever seen from an animated live action blend before.
So Marcel's like an actual, he's a little guy.
He's just a little guy who's just moving around, just trying his best.
And his grandmother.
Sometimes I do get choked up just thinking about Marcel, just living his little life, just being a cute little guy, just trying his hardest, trying his little darndest out there. No, it's so good. This was, man, what a year for stop motion animation.
Yeah, Pinocchio.
Yeah, Pinocchio, Wendell and the Wild, incredible. Stop motion is fucking back. I love this movie. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. Shout out to Leslie Stahl.
I love it. It's a really easy recommend, I think. I mean, some people might be a little bit kind of weirded out by it. Like it's a little shell with one eye. Like, what am I supposed to do? Yeah. But it's if you get past that, it's a really nice story.
Also, you don't have to like get past it. Like the cuteness factor is a good thing. That's working in this movie's favor. Like, don't be so fucking cold-hearted. Also, this movie's like 82 minutes long.
Right, yeah.
It's so
it's an
nice.
Easy watch.
It's so breezy, and we're going to talk about some meaty motherfuckers coming up here on the list eventually. And like this was just such a nice film to just have on. I've watched this a couple of times since it came out in theaters. It's lovely. It's just an absolute lovely, just fills my heart whenever I think about that little shell.
Yeah.
So
it's also about like fame and the internet and like dealing with like,
yeah, there's this whole thing about like
attention, like constant attention,
getting famous and thinking that's going to actually help him. And then it's just people like wanting to like do the fucking gritty outside of his house. Like it's like nobody's
invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it when he puts like jam on his little shoes and he walks up the wall, sticking to the side of the wall. Oh my gosh!
He's just befriending little bugs. When Marcel sings,
Marcel The Shell with the shoes on, or just with shoes on.
Drew, have you seen this?
No.
Drew, check it out.
I've seen the damn YouTube videos.
This is better than
it's Hunter's number 9. My number 9 is the Banshees of Inisherin. Did this make your list?
Gonna have to wait.
Okay.
Until now.
Maybe
it's my number 8.
Oh.
And we're at my number 8.
Okay,
which is
so
the Banshees of Inisherin.
Let's talk about it. I don't think this made your list, Hunter.
No,
you're not a fan of this one.
I want you guys to pop off more about it because I liked this movie more than I loved it.
Okay.
I didn't. I have more admiration for this movie than I do that I really connected to.
So one thing that we didn't kind of mention in the preamble is like kind of going back to previous years of us doing this pod. A lot of times there is a huge gap in between the stuff that we thought was the best, that's the stuff that we gravitated towards as our favorites, and what was being recognized in the awards as like the best of the year. I think this year is going to be very unique. We'll see what happens in future years. It might be an outlier as like that gap closing dramatically. And all the movies that are up for awards this year are all pretty much amazing. Obviously, you know, you got your Elvises, you're the Whales.
Hey, shut your fucking mouth about Elvis, okay? Save that for number one.
The fact that like a movie like The Banshees of Inisherin is like one of the front runners for Best Picture, and we'll get to another one later on in the podcast that's even more likely. But this movie is so unique, so different to like your usual, you know, kind of Oscar bait fare. It's a really unique blend of dark humor and drama. The shots are incredible. The production design, the costumes, like everything is there. Everything you look for in like an awards type movie is there. But when you sit and watch it, it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like it's pandering to some fucking 75-year-old Academy voter. It has this more unique feeling, and it talks about a lot of universal themes, and it does it in a way that's like really funny, really dark, really dramatic. It kind of juggles a little bit of everything, and it doesn't feel like this grand epic tale. It feels really small and personal. It's these two friends that are having a spat, and they take it a little too far. And it just, I keep thinking about it. I keep returning back to it. Colin Farrell is one of my best performances of one of my favorite performances of the year. What he does in this role,
Best eyebrows.
Patrick, and don't you want to be my friend no more?
Am I dull?
My doll? You think I'm dull?
Fucking donkey. It's gorgeous. Shout out to Jenny. Shout out to you, beautiful donkey.
Yeah, great cast all around. Barry Keoghan.
Who's now also getting supporting actor buzz to go along with Brendan.
Who is Brendan? Yeah, Brendan and Colin as a duo are just incredible. I mean, this is it's been noted to death.
Yeah,
but
they're a dynamic duo.
They're playing the opposite roles that they played in Bruges, which they, by the way, they also do very well in that movie, with Colin Farrell being like the nihilistic, depressed guy, and Brendan Gleeson being a dumb idiot. This is my favorite Martin McDonagh movie. I was really, really hard against Three Billboards from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
I hated it. And this movie, I think, removes almost every issue that I had with that movie.
This movie, I think we hated Three Billboards so much that I was like cheering like I just won the lottery when The Shape of Water beat it for Best Picture. That was how much I just hated Three
it's a good
Billboards.
movie.
It's a beautiful movie, but
also,
who am I kidding?
Shout out to my mom, who like she listened to our episode on Three Billboards, and you guys hated it so much. Like the first thing she said to me, it wasn't like, "Oh, how you doing? Like, how you been?" It was like, "You need to tell Drew and Hunter that they were too hard on Three Billboards." I'm like,
Did she watch it? Did she watch it? And she was like, "Yeah, no, I've been in that situation where I've like gone up to you as you're leaving the house, and you're like, I hope you get raped." A real line that's uttered in the film Three Billboards.
A lot of people love that movie, and like we were just not part of that crowd.
You were more into it.
I was.
You liked it at first.
I didn't know. I never was like into it.
When we reviewed it, though, you didn't dislike it.
I don't think.
When we reviewed it,
I think I was not a fan from the get-go.
You didn't say I don't like it.
Check the tape.
We have to rewind it. Ernie,
I was like, hey, I'm Hunter. I love this
You're
fucking
gonna
movie.
hear like that. There's like the production quality is gonna like drastically drop as you clip in the original take.
I was always like kind of on the 7 out of 10 range.
It just bugged
on
me.
Billboards. I didn't hate it.
Part of why I like this movie a lot more isn't gaining like the personal understanding that Martin McDonagh is just a playwright who gets to make movies.
Yeah.
That serves this movie very well, because this is just a play.
But it has like the sweeping shots of Ireland.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is like it's a play with like the best backdrop it could have.
It's gorgeous.
So it's sort of an ideal scenario, because like it's not a varied location. It's the same location, but with a lot of different looks to it. That's all you could ever want as a playwright. So I think this is him writing to his strengths as a filmmaker and as a writer. So congrats to him. You're off of my list.
He kind of leveled up here. I think this is more than just his best movie yet. I think this is a like really mature showing, artistic showing. And I think a lot of people that have probably seen his plays are probably saying like, yeah, no shit. But we kind of hadn't seen that on the film side up until this point. I have never seen any of his plays, so I don't know. But this feels like it has this really like thematic weight to it. And it's just, it's been in my head a lot. And the things that this movie is talking about, like what is life all about? Like, why do we, what do we want to spend our time doing? And what kind of gives us that feeling of, you know, balancing friendship versus work? And
Gleason's exasperation is like unreal levels of good. Also, like related to that, my favorite detail in the movie, I think overall, is the fact that his songs are not that good.
Yeah.
Like that to me is genuinely a big choice to make. Is like this entire pursuit of his is just
like it's not going to work.
No,
out. He's
just,
never going to be fucking.
It's
Mozart.
just a desire he has. It's not evidence based that this is going to work out for him in some sort of way.
Well,
it's just he wants to do this.
If he had actual faith in his musical ability, he wouldn't cut off his fucking fingers.
You know?
So he knows.
Yeah, it's
he
just like,
wants to be a dick about it.
It's just like he's not like some genius who decided to abandon his craft years ago to drink beer. Like he's just like some guy who can like kind of play.
He just got up one day and decided he was going to choose violence.
Yeah. That genuinely makes the movie better to me. I think that's a huge deal. Like this isn't the story of like unrealized genius.
Yeah.
It's the story of like figuring out what to do with your time.
Also, just Colin Farrell again. Like he's having
Colin
a
Farrell's,
moment right now.
Oh yeah, no, he's unbelievable. This is a huge year for Colin Farrell. I did really like this movie. It's in my top 20 of movies, honestly. Like I still really love it, especially the first half of this movie is like fucking incredible. If anything, I was almost just like the second half just didn't work.
When the darkness comes.
Yeah, I just didn't love that. I didn't enjoy it as much. I didn't think that it was as well executed. Yeah. But
well, also, I mean, animals in peril. That's a tough
I don't like shells in peril, and I don't like animals in peril. No, but the first half, especially of this movie, is like the funniest shit I've seen this year. Like it's so fucking well done.
Shout out to Carrie Condon too.
Yep,
she rocks.
Yeah,
everybody's great in the movie.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
It's bare bones, and I can't blame anyone for wanting more out of a movie in general, philosophically speaking. But if I really like it if you know what you're like getting into.
Do we think it's going to win Best Picture?
No,
I do not.
Yeah,
I think it's running third right now.
What can it win? Can Colin win? Can Colin beat?
It feels like Austin
Butler?
Butler's mama.
Yeah,
mama. People love their mama.
All right, it's Drew's 8 and my 9. The Banshees of Inisherin.
Hunter, you're 8.
My number 8. I'm almost positive we're gonna have to wait on because you said what's in front of it for Best Picture, and I think that this is one of the movies. My number 8 is The Fabelmans.
The Fabelmans, yes. You're gonna have to wait on The
Drew
Fabelmans.
Watching a Spielberg movie.
Watch the movie.
You gonna give that guy a shot?
Watch the movie.
Huh?
My number 8.
Why would you spoil for the audience? I watched the whole thing, had no idea.
You're like, the famous director Sammy Fabelman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fictional character, Sammy
whenever
Fabelman.
I told Guy, I was just like, yeah, Sammy Fabelman. She was like, his name's Fableman? Are you kidding me? She did not appreciate
Fableman
that.
Is cool.
I love it. Fableman rocks. It's a great name.
It's great. It's cheesy. It's
love
awesome. And go ahead.
We're gonna have to wait on my number 8. We're just a lot of overlap, which is good. Keeps the episode shorter, or so I think.
Imagine if we had to talk about 30 movies at length.
Don't worry. We'll have some wild cards coming up in here.
Babylon.
You're gonna have to wait on that bad boy. You're gonna keep that thing in the fucking tank. Is what you're.
This is what I'm talking about when it's like I can't like.
You're gonna need to go ahead and take
that it's lower.
Just go ahead and Just go ahead and take Babylon. Put that. Just take that and clip it for 2.5 hours from now, for whenever we can get to talk about Babylon.
Okay. Number 7, Drew.
Wowie.
I'm assuming that's going to take us 2.5 hours to go 2 spots.
Something in the way.
The Batman.
I think we could. It's easy to underrate how good this movie is. It came out early in the year. Its flaws are sort of unanimously agreed upon, which usually like really weigh a movie down.
Yeah, it's like 2 movies smushed together.
Yeah, it has fat to trim. Yada yada yada. It rocks. It is a mood. It is a vibe. It is really well directed. Bob Patty is Batty Daddy.
Oh, yes.
We get so much. There is too much story, but it's also good story.
Yeah, the 2 movies are mushed together well.
Yes.
Like, it's like you have all this John Turturro mob stuff. You have all of this like messy backstory with Bruce's parents. You have the Catwoman stuff, the Penguin stuff. Like, there's just so much packed into this movie. But
I like
there's all connective tissue between.
It does.
All of it
makes sense. I love Bob Patty getting to vibe with Jeffrey Wright.
Oh
yeah, I think
Jeffrey
that
Wright,
they like weirdly have chemistry even, and that matters a lot because the script is written so that you are just supposed to assume that they have
it's been a couple years.
Yeah, they've had a years-long relationship and they have chemistry, so the actors have to have chemistry or else that doesn't work at all.
Jeffrey Wright knows exactly what movie he's in. He knows he's in a comic book movie. This movie is funny. Like, everyone was saying like, oh, this movie's too dark and moody and dour. Like, no, it has the energy of a comic book. Like, obviously it looks dark and moody, but it has a sense of humor to it. It rocks.
Mm-hmm. It's like a lot of the time the darkness is the joke,
right?
Because
it's drive.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's intentionally a joke when Robert Pattinson and like the way he looks and sounds and like his posture is juxtaposed with like the real world when it's like light out. Like, that's on purpose funny to look at, and it's funny when he walks into the crime scene room and he's just like there, and, and like it's directed so that like
all latex,
and it's all close on him, and he's like towering above everyone, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
All the cops are looking at him like,
"Yeah,
you let this guy in."
Matt Reeves did a really really great job.
So like I said earlier, had a very hard time kind of choosing this lower tier of my list a little bit. Actually, I think Babylon and Banshees were always going to be on my list, but the Batman was not on my list for a while. And the other night I did like a little sample platter. Like, I watched like the first 30 minutes of a couple of movies, and the first 30 minutes of the Batman are perfect. The December 31st. Just that the kind of the mood, the grime, like, they fear the shadows.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am the shadows.
Also,
like that energy, it feels like Matt Reeves captured exactly what he had in his head. And I love the Apes movies. Like, we did a whole episode on this movie. I talked a lot about how much I love those movies.
You're a fucking Apes head.
I think this is his best movie, and that's why I had to put it on my list, because as much as I love his 2 Apes movies that he did, like, I'm head over heels for those movies. It feels like he took all the lessons from making those movies and applied them to making the kind of Batman movie that was begging to be made. Like, we have the Nolan stuff. I love those movies, but Nolan was trying to make like realistic type stuff. Reeves was like, let's make an actual comic book movie. Let's actually like get to a lot of like the DNA of what works on the page and bring it to life.
He's still young too.
Yeah.
And he's already, in my mind, he's reached the tier of dudes like James Mangold already as a director. Like, he is extremely confident working in different genres. he's very good at adapting source material while also having his own signature style. That's exactly how I would describe James Mangold. So I'm excited for his future. I'm excited for the future of this franchise. When the movie gets disorganized, and like it maybe feels aimless, guess who gets to pull us out of it is Mr. Riddler himself, Mr. Dano.
Our guy.
Yeah, who is Slay. And
I think your mic turned off. There's a switch on it. There you go.
Our guy. I had
Yeah.
so many thoughts right now. And
Mr. Fableman himself,
Yeah.
I know.
just coming in and wrapping himself in duct tape.
Mr. Zero Riz.
Yeah.
The entire time I was watching Fablemans, I'm like, God, no Riz. Like, he's so swagless. He makes Seth Rogen seem fucking hot.
Dude,
Fableman.
man, we're going to talk about... I love what Paul Dano is doing in
everything.
In the Fablemans. In
So
everything.
good.
He's
In
the best.
everything. Paul Dano is
to
the
my
shit.
Twitch stream.
I fucked up here. I saw this movie in March and I haven't rewatched it since then. I just like looked at my list and it's in like the mid 20s and that's just too low.
That's criminal.
It's just a thing of
I'm
like
gonna put you in Arkham.
if I would have, I just haven't had a chance to rewatch it. I know that this would at least be in my top like 15-ish or so because I fucking loved this movie whenever it came out. It's bloated, but like it's fun.
It's a hero
It's fun.
movie. It's a mood. It's a vibe. It rocks.
He's packing in like
Zoe
everything.
Kravitz is hot.
Oh, dude.
Her and Robert Patty.
Oh my God.
yeah.
The leather.
Oof. Leather
God,
on
the
leather.
emo, the eyeliner. There's a moment at the beginning of this movie when like I think it's the first scene where Andy Serkis first walks in, where like that song, the Nirvana song, is blasting, and it goes from non-diegetic to diegetic when he turns the volume down on his. He's just up all night filming shit on his fucking contact lenses and then watching it back, blasting Nirvana in his fucking back cave, and with his eyeliner still streaming down his face. I'm just like,
cool.
This is the greatest fucking thing
This
I've
rocks.
ever
So-
seen in my life.
Two things if we lived in like a pure world that would have been in this movie. A, he's on perks or something, like 1,000,000%. And then B, him and Zoe Kravitz are scissoring. They're touching pussies.
I mean, she is a pussy. She's a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to, once again, Colin fucking Farrell as the fucking penguin. He's so good. Another favorite moment from this movie is when Batman first walks into the Penguin's club and the music's just blasting and he starts fighting all the fucking dudes and you can barely hear the sound of the punches because the music is so loud.
Yeah, it's a great moment.
Fucking cinema, dude. Fucking cinema. God, this movie rocks. Oh,
It's like The Social Network, but instead of Justin Timberlake's voice, it's punches that you can't hear.
It's the Batman.
The Batman.
We did a whole episode on it. Check out it was actually one of our best performing episodes of the year. So shout out.
Look at that.
The Batman. Drew 7, my 10, Hunter. Hunter. Number.
So my number 7. So there 8 through like 15 was very interchangeable for me. There's been a tier jump now.
Okay.
As we're reaching 7. 7 through the next few are very interchangeable for me. This feels low. Feel like I'm gonna have to wait on it. But my number 7 is Tar.
You're gonna have to wait for it.
I'm gonna have Tar wait on it.
Wait, is this on your list?
Yes.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
It's also my number 7, but I guess we're gonna have to wait on it.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Cool.
Tar.
Lydia Tar exists. Lydia Tar matters.
We are waiting. I do have a Zoom window open, waiting for her to jump on at any moment.
Lydia.
We don't know if she is actually available or
Are we
not.
live right now? Are we live? Lydia, come on. Hop on the pod. Explain what's going on.
We're at my number 6. We might have to wait. It is in fact Top Gun Maverick.
You're gonna have to wait on that one.
You're gonna have to wait on. You are gonna have to wait on that one.
There we go.
You
I
are gonna
had to find the melody there.
You're gonna have to wait on that one.
Okay, Hunter, number 6.
Jesus fucking Christ. So my number 6, I'm almost positive we will not have to wait on this. This is low key the best Colin Farrell performance of the year. This is After Yang.
Pop off.
Did not watch.
So this movie just completely snuck up on me. This is a movie that came out in, I think, March of this last year.
Mm-hmm.
Very small released A24 film, kind of just came and went in the theater cycle.
Yeah, it felt like for a minute it was like, oh, is this going to get the buzz? And then it just kind of
it just kind of didn't. I mean,
it's a quiet
by
one.
seeing it, it's very, very quiet. So it makes sense that like the masses didn't run out to the theater to see this thing. But this is the most emotionally affected I've been by a movie this year. This is a movie that like made me just like completely fucking devastated me. I rewatched it today just to make sure that it belonged this high on my list. And I just watched it at like 9 a.m. this morning. Like, why am I doing this to myself in the morning? And now I just have to live like this for the rest of the day. This is the movie. If I were to compare it to anything else, the closest comparison is Her. With
that's
everything that it's going for very soft sci-fi, kind of juggling these ideas of like what it means to exist, what it means to be alive, what it means to love, the aesthetic.
It looks like Her from every promotional photo I've seen.
This is my favorite.
No collars allowed. It's all collarless shirts.
This is like my favorite production design since Her in a sci-fi movie. Of just like, this is probably like the most well realized of what it will actually look like 100 years from now. It's not going to look like fucking Total Recall. It's going to look like softer side effects, where if we do have like technos coming into our lives, it's going to be to serve some kind of like purpose of teaching language or some shit like that, not to take over the world.
No, I think it's going to look like a paper mache MF popping out of people's stomachs.
Probably. Yeah, that's probably it. No, I just think that this is so beautiful. Everything that Colin Farrell is doing, Colin Farrell is the king of the murmurs, the quiet.
Well, he's really into tea. He's a tea. Isn't he like a professional tea drinker?
He owns He owns a tea shop, and there's one of like my favorite scenes of the year is him describing like what it is to love tea and like what made him pursue tea. And it's not even like anything that like this super movie speech or anything like that. He's just like, just like I watched this documentary whenever I was younger, and somebody talked about you take a sip of tea and you just transport it to another world. It's undefinable. And like also just talking about the themes of this movie and like what it is to be alive, what comes after death. I mean, after Yang, the story, just for people who don't know,
it's a broken robot.
This is a robot like a robot is brought into this family to be an older sibling to Colin Farrell and Jodie Turner-Smith's daughter, who's a Chinese girl, Mika, to act as a surrogate older sibling, to teach her about her heritage and to help raise her and be that kind of older Chinese sibling to kind of help her feel more acclimated to society and to the family. Within the first 5-10 minutes of the movie, Yang breaks down after the best title sequence of the year.
The
dance sequence is so fucking good. It's so cool. I love it so much. And throughout the course of the movie, Colin Farrell's character Jake is kind of going around and trying to see what they can do to fix Yang, to see what they can do. And they kind of are able to uncover his memories. And that's what kind of leads to more of these existential ideas that are coming out of this. There's an idea of like, can a robot learn to love? And like, what even is love? What comes after death? Not just for robots, but what comes after death for all of us. And
I've seen Bicentennial Man.
There you go.
No.
Well, no, but
Don't
something
you dare right now.
Get the fuck out of here. Something that's like, this movie is more willing to kind of confront the idea of like, maybe it's okay if there's nothing after this.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have something without nothing.
Well, it's also like about memories, like holding on to like the memories of our life instead of just like what's beyond. It's just like what we've done. What can we hold on to that is in the past that we can like remember? And
maybe, I mean, that is how you live forever, is you touch other people's lives, and then those people's lives who you touch, they touch other people's lives. And it kind of just has this spiderweb effect of we're all kind of living in the same way as each other. Gotta give a shout out to Haley Lou Richardson, the White Lotus.
Also a robot, right?
Clone.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, this movie like doesn't explain any of the sci-fi stuff. It's just kind of putting you in the world. Very little things are actually over-explained, which I fucking love. I don't need to know about like how they're in cars and they don't actually have to drive them. Like I don't fucking care about any of that. It's absolutely beautiful, gorgeous film by Kogonada. This is like one of my guys now. After seeing this, I'm just like, yes, I want to see everything this man puts out. Pachenko sitting there on my queue on Apple TV Plus to fire up because this guy.
What else is in there?
I need to see Columbus. Haven't seen Columbus.
No, in the Apple TV.
Oh, in the Apple TV Plus. Severance season 2. The awaiting the trailers. No. I'm just I like pre-waitlisted it.
Okay.
Did you make your own queue?
Yeah, I made my own queue.
Definitely not For All Mankind. You deleted that one.
No, I actually I contacted Apple.
Tim Apple.
I got them to take it off the server,
Good.
so it's gone now. This movie's beautiful. I always just want to like highlight one smaller underseen movie on my list, and like everybody should go see After Yang. It's so beautiful. It's available to rent. I think it's available to rent. It's also on.
It's on Showtime.
Showtime. Is it on Paramount Plus, or did I make that up?
So I'm glad you asked. As a paying Paramount Plus subscriber, I'm contractually obligated to mention that Showtime has now been folded into the Paramount Plus service.
Cool.
So now, if you subscribe to Paramount Plus, you can just add on Showtime for like $2 extra or $3 extra or something.
Oh fuck! I'm just gonna do that then. Thank you. Thanks for the ad read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jeff will be waiting for those checks.
Probst.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's After Yang.
Yeah. A24 has like a special deal with Showtime.
Oh, really?
All their new shit goes to there. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, nice.
That's the deal. Yeah.
You saw this movie like when it came out, didn't you?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel what you are talking about. Like, I don't disagree with it at all. It just kind of put me to sleep a little bit. It's just, I don't know. Not for me.
You need your fucking sandworms in your sci-fi to actually stay awake.
I need my
Yeah. Oh, also, the score is one of my top 3 favorite scores of the year. Shout out to my king, my Lord and Savior, Ryuichi Sakamoto, the best modern classical composer that we have, who did the main theme for this. Beautiful. Fucking love it.
After Yang.
All
right. My number 6, boys. We're going to have to journey to Pandora. For Avatar, The Way of Water.
Let's go, baby.
I have to pee, so this is perfect.
Well, luckily Ernest has 3.5 hours of thoughts on Avatar The Way of Water, so can we break down frame by frame of Avatar The Way of Water?
Big Jim is back. Pandora is back in our lives. Mm. We got to meet our new friends, the Water Tribe, the Matkaina.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Nailed that fucking pronunciation. Look at that.
The Tulkun.
Tulkun.
The Pandora space whales. And our best friend, Payakan, who will return in Avatar 3.
Payakan will return.
I can't deny the power of this film. It is a massive, gargantuan achievement. It is going to change so much about how movies are made, just like the first one did. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about The Last of Us this week because it premiered, the show premiered on HBO Max, and a lot of conversation has been around how easy maybe not easy, but how kind of a close approximation the show makes to the video game because of the technology that was used in making the video game, which was this performance capture that is now commonplace in pretty much every big video game. Everything from like God of War to, Horizon, all of these like big AAA games, they use this technology that was used by the original Avatar movie of this performance capture in these volume settings. And to think about what this new movie is going to do, if now like this is a commonplace practice that is now done by so many people in the industry that came from this first movie 13 years ago. I can't even imagine what the technology of The Way of Water is going to pioneer. Like, because you go and see this movie in the theater, whether you do Dolby or IMAX or just regular 3D or whatever they have to offer. There is no denying that this looks like the most incredible visual effects you've ever seen in your life. Aside from what you think about the story or anything like that, it is an insanely immersive experience. It feels so real. It feels like you're there.
It's completely, the visual spectacle is completely undeniable.
And I think the thing that puts it kind of in this close to my top half of my list is that the movie, it doesn't feel the need to like cram all this plot. It's so lean. Like, yeah, it's a really long movie, but so much of it is just like, we're just going to live in this world. We're not really going to spend a lot of time like trying to hit all these fucking plot beats. We're just going to slow down and immerse you in this world and make you feel like you're there. And man, it's so fucking effective. Like, oh my God, I cared so much about these fucking whales, man. Like, I saw this movie again, and this whole sequence of them hunting the whales and all of the aftermath that comes from that and all of the action beats that follow that, it feels all so earned. Like, oh my God, it's just this big bombastic explosion of action filmmaking that only James Cameron could do. It's fucking incredible. It's so good, man.
It's incredible. I really need to see this a second time because I haven't seen this since we saw it in theaters together in Dolby 3D. And I mean, I think that the runtime has been daunting for me to go back and see it again.
It's a big boy.
It is 3.5 hours with trailers. It's just, I have to be ready for 4 hours of my life to just be devoted to Big Jim and to the theaters. But I mean, what you said is 100% right. For as broad and as almost like insultingly broad as some of like the dialogue can be at certain points of just like straight corny, the visual aspects of this are just absolutely deniable. Like, there's nothing that can be kind of mocked whenever it comes to just like everything that you're seeing underwater. I said it at the time whenever we first saw it and we did a pod about it. It like almost just like it brought me to tears just seeing like how beautiful it was. Like, I had never seen anything reach that level of visual effects before.
Yeah.
It was just absolutely undeniable.
It's the promise of this project like fulfilled. Like, oh my God, James Cameron is making another Avatar movie and he's taking 13 years to make it. Like, how good
turns
could
out
it possibly
every director
be?
should take 13 years to make their next movie.
Yeah. It's just
the track record. I mean, Todd Field is around there. Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Jane Campion.
I can't wait for
Richard Linklater in the Before trilogy.
Exactly.
Richard Linklater making another one right now that's 13 years long. So
it's just it's a one of a kind thing. It's the kind of thing that only James Cameron could do, and we're lucky to have it. I feel blessed. It's an incredible movie. It's Avatar: The Way of Water, and that completes the first half of our list. Numbers 10 through 6.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. We're at about an hour and a half.
Look at us.
Should we call part 1?
Yeah, let's. Please.
If we don't, we're going to go for like 3 hours on this.
Okay.
Part.
So that wraps up part 1 of our best movies, favorite top of 2022. Tune in for part 2, numbers 5 through 1. Thanks for listening. Tune in. We love you. See you later.
Bye.